is one of those artists that really surprised me because he started off doing Milk and Cheese and these sort of 3-panel strips of I always loved that your arms are too short to box with God, which is a picture of a boxer pointing at the sky and then this huge arm coming down with a boxing glove and splatting him. It's what was that?
Evan Dorkin's fucking brilliant.
Just absurdist
but he's so tortured.
But now he's doing actual regular superhero comic books. I mean, his best thing.
Kind of disappointing.
It is kind of disappointing, but you should read Beasts of Burden that he did with Jill Thompson drawing it, which is one of the most amazing new books I've seen in the last 5 years.
Cool. You know what? It's a great Evan Dorkin book that probably a lot of people haven't seen. It's not in trade. You have to seek it out, but it's The Thing, Night Falls on Yancey Street. He writes it. Dean Haspiel does art. And it's fucking amazing. And, of course, nobody bought it because it didn't look like a Marvel book. It looked like an indie book. But it's got The Thing, and it's a fantastic read. It's a 4-issue miniseries.
What is it about Thing miniseries that have always been good?
Yeah.
I mean, for whatever reason, that's a character that in the Fantastic Four is often misused, as just sort of a excuse to have a crappy joke in the background.
Yeah.
And whenever he gets his own thing, it's always great. Do you remember the actual running Thing series that was going on in the 80s? So much better than anything else that was happening.
Well, it's because The Thing is such a great, you can use him as such a great metaphor for, the man and the monster and your self-image problems or, all that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with The Thing.
Yeah.
Plus, you can talk about his dick is orange and rocky if you understand later.
Well, you almost have to go there at some point. What choice do you have?
Stanley confirmed that recently, and I'm like, what are you doing, Stan? Don't confirm that.
Well, please, people need to stop asking Stanley questions.
Yeah, I was thinking that it would be like a red rocket, on a dog. It just comes, red rocket. This red meaty thing just pokes out of a hole like a fucking tube worm.
Well, his eyes just rolls on out of there. His eyes are still fleshy, so I would think his dick.
I need to talk to Stan Lee.
Because Stan will tell you what. You're like, hey, Stan, I was thinking his dick should be like a red rock. Ah, sure, do you believe it? That's great. You want me to sign your tits?
How is he going to take his shit and wipe rocks without it just staying?
He's very dehydrated. It would be really funny if he was just completely bald down there like a Ken doll. It would explain all the rage issues.
Oh, yeah.
How many ass cracks does he have? Because he's rock and it cracks.
Yeah, rock just falls out and gravel falls behind him everywhere he walks.
Well, I'll tell you what, one more question. And co-host, do you have one picked out for us?
God, I'm trying here. I'm reading these questions. I'm like, how does Leon do this?
I don't know how he does either. Yeah. That's why I passed that duty on to him.
All right, well, here's one. Dear Leog, this is by B. Smitty. Dear Leog, with Marvel's lead up to the Avengers coming full circle this year with Thor and Captain America, what do you think is the next logical step for them expanding and molding their universe for a viewing audience? Do you expect them to take an approach similar to what Dark Tower will be doing and having a TV series in between films to branch out their universe? Long live the League, Smitty. P.S. Prank well executed last week. It was quite superb.
Gracias, senor.
That's a good question.
I think there's 65 pages of comments disagreeing with you about how well that prank was.
It's only 3 guys, really. 3 humorless fucking cunts.
Me, Peter.
People.
It was a terrible prank. I thought it was real. It was horribly executed.
The only people who hated it were those who weren't on the show last week. We have 8 alternate identities on Spill. Sock puppets, as you will.
So what was the question?
Yeah. Where do they go after the Avengers? That's a really good question.
No, I know. I mean, presumably, all right, so Iron Man 3 is not even supposed to take place until after the Avengers.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. So presumably they're already working on that post-Avengers plan. I mean,
well, sure. I'm sure there's obviously Avengers 2, but where do they expand? X-Men's already accounted for. Fantastic Four they already fucked up.
Well, Marvel has made a big deal about saying that they're really serious about their minor characters, about pursuing in film.
Yeah, until the Cloak and Dagger film comes out and
tertiary characters. Well, no, to a certain extent, but I think it's you can do low budget tertiary character films, and that's where they're going. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, I would love for them to spend more time pursuing their small characters. I mean, honestly, that's how Blade happened, which ended up being at least 2 great films, not 3 certainly, but you know.
So.
I love the first 2 Blade films. The third, not at all.
Yeah.
The third was shit.
Yeah, third one is utter shit.
Even fucking Blade was pissed off at that fucking film. I think throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, I admit that the idea of having Ryan Reynolds in the role that he plays in that film is a good idea, but it's such a terribly written character that it doesn't matter. It's a fucking bad movie.
I definitely like the idea of like TV miniseries happening in between movies like the Avengers and Avengers 2, like Clone Wars style.
But good.
But good. Yeah. Well, I like the first Clone. Okay.
Yeah, the first Clone Wars was awesome.
The 2D stuff is awesome. The 3D stuff is shit.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
The 2D was awesome.
And obviously we've got sequels because everyone who has signed on to a Marvel film in the last 10 years has been roped into a contract. So we have Thor 2, we have Thor 3 already contracted to be made. Chris Evans got the role as Cap in part due to they wanted to sign somebody for a 9-picture deal.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. They wanted to sign somebody to an 8, 7. No, finally Chris Evans like, I'll do 6.
Yeah. Who wants to sign a 9-picture contract? I mean, especially like nine, probably 10 years out of your fucking life.
Yeah, especially at the amount that they were. It's a 9-picture deal for $500,000 a picture.
Right.
Which seems great because it's like, well, I'll be working, I'll be doing a lot of films, but it's like not a lot of money for a big actor to do.
So when I have my Superman 3 and 4, I have 6, 7, 8, 9.
But he did. They did narrow it down to 6, so he'll be doing 6 pictures. 3 of those are Captain America pictures. I'm assuming the other 3 are Avenger films.
See, they're going the wrong way.
That's ridiculous.
I could care less if they get the same actor for these roles. I would rather them get the same writer and director for those type of commitments. Like,
if they want to get rid of Chris Evans, I'm okay with it.
Okay, I know, fair enough. But I'm saying, like, I can accept a change. Hell, I grew up on soap operas where they would just go, this week the role of Luke on General Hospital will be played by some other schmuck.
James
we're like, okay, it doesn't matter because I'm in this for the story. You know what? I would just be just as happy if they said, you know what? We're looking for creators who have the idea for a 4-episode arc. The way they do it in fucking comic books.
Well, I definitely think it should be mapped out, but having the same actors in there, I think lends a lot to it. Like helps. When you look at like Harry Potter,
it
I think that is like integral.
It helps
to
an enormous degree, but we're dealing with honestly an entirely new industry. Let's face it. With what we're looking at right now, like this new concept of like, all right, so Marvel breaking the new ground of saying, you know what, this is all building towards the Avengers, and DC just recently saying, you know what, fine. We said we weren't going to, but the truth is we are building towards the Justice League of America movie.
You mean DC copying something Marvel did?
I know, right? But they copy each other constantly. So you can't put more blame on one the other.
Hey, you know what? I've got an idea. We should do a Justice League movie where we tie in all the other franchises. It's brilliant.
But if we could do the same thing that the comics actually do, is that you put the weight on the fucking writers, where people go, this is what we're following. Who gives a shit what they look like? I think that's the best thing that could happen.
Which makes me like really wish that they had contracts like this when Val Kilmer played Batman.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm talking.
Like if they signed Val Kilmer to a 7-picture deal, he would have been in the Dark Knight.
And that's what I'm talking about as far as like, you know, it's backwards thinking, because I'm like, if you're gonna have a contract like that, do it for the producer, the writer, and just leave it at that, you know, because, I mean, you don't know when your movie's all of a sudden is going to turn into a fucking Superman 3 or Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, and where it's like, all right, wow, we got this actor who's obviously just doesn't give a shit anymore. And it's like, okay,
the incentive to do
you killed their enthusiasm for wanting to play that character.
Or any Batman movie before the fucking
The incentive should be in the money. I mean, I think that they shouldn't like force people to sign these big contracts, because if something busts and they want to keep doing it, and that person's like contracted into it.
I mean, it's like you know, number one for these studios, make sure your fucking movie that you're releasing is fucking good. Make sure it's a movie somebody actually wants to go back and see again. And just because you throw in a name like Captain America, I mean, I don't give a shit.
If I notice Snyder as a director.
Yeah, if I notice the movie before was shit, there's a good chance I'm not going to see the next one.
I always feel like part of the problem is that they're like not, as much as they never mix up the test audiences, like they go, let's just show this in front of Joe Mall. which there is no Joe Mall anymore. There was a time there was. Now it's like very specifically people who have, people who show up at a mall. They're like, hey, you want to see a free movie? Mm-hmm. And that's the way they used to do all test screenings.
Actually, the name's pronounced Jamal. You
racist.
Sorry,
I know that cat.
All mall dwellers look the same. They just, they got
there's
their
one guy
little
named
jumpsuit.
Jamal who screen all the movies.
We have this cheerful black fellow named Joe Mall.
We got to cut that out. Our token black guy's not here. We can't get away with that without him approving.
What are you even talking about? I don't understand. I'm colorblind like Grant.
I don't see color.
Honestly, that's why I think DC has the better of the two, and I'm kind of sad that they're trying to adapt the Marvel thing, because DC, they have their separate universes. If I'm not saying that it will, but if Green Lantern is terrible, they won't make another Green Lantern film, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just like if Thor, Captain America ends up being bad, they are going to make 2 more films regardless because they have to.
Of course, you say they won't make another Green Lantern film if it's terrible, but I would put in front of you Hulk.
Well, true, but
I would just
Hulk
say that was
money.
Ang Lee's Hulk was terrible, and they went and made another Hulk film almost immediately, which is a good film. Yeah. In fact, I feel really bad for the with the Incredible Hulk, I guess is what the second one was called, because it's a goddamn good film, but it was biased against by how terrible Ang Lee's film was, and by the fact that it had such competition
and some bad. It was up against too.
I don't think that's true. It was up against The Dark Knight and Iron Man 1. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's a great movie. If a lot of what happened with Hulk is that the horrible Ed Norton thing, where if they had let him make the movie he wanted to make, that movie would have killed.
I still think it's a really damn good film.
It is a good film. It would have been much better had they let him do it. It's like Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 is a good film. If they'd let Favreau make the version he wanted, it probably would have been a great film.
Maybe. I've seen the deleted scenes, and I still didn't think that
except for the good film part, I agree.
Because honestly, Iron Man 2, I still don't own that, and honestly, I'm not looking forward to own it. Even if I saw it for $5, I don't even think I'd pick it up.
It's okay.
At
best, it's okay.
I liked it too.
Yeah. Get out, Randy.
It's not great. It's not super great. It's okay.
I liked it, but I also, at the time, liked the first Hulk movie.
I will see. Let's get.
I haven't seen it after that, so I guess
because of the Hulk poodles. Those were awesome.
Let me put it this way. I will see Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2 was not bad enough that I refuse to see the next movie.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
it's not a Spider-Man 3 where
it's just another one of those movies where you're wondering, like, okay, how much did Marvel have a hand in playing and fucking this movie up, probably. Because Jon Favreau, I mean, it's funny just seeing how he seems like now to disconnect himself from Iron Man completely. Like, he's just like, he's like the guy who had the fucking. It's like he had an April Fool's joke, and it was real. It was fucking real, and
he was not happy about what they did to his film.
And
that's why Harris isn't here anymore.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm like wondering, wow, how can these films really survive if that studio Marvel is not there constantly trying to fuck it up just so they, I guess, claim that they helped in making it a great movie, which actually is always the opposite.
I'm still waiting for someone to. I'm really excited for someone to post in the comments if Harris is actually there next week, I'll eat my hat. Because obviously this is the week that they thought they could get back and work together, and obviously that didn't work.
See, Harris and Leon got in a fight. And they both left.
An actual fight. They're at the hospital right now.
Next week's episode will be hosted by Jason, Allison, Kristen. But you know what? That's as great a point as any to end this particular episode of The League of Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen. You know what? For Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen, I think we're pretty extraordinary. I know we're not allowed to go but so far as
I'm all right.
Yeah, except for
I have my days.
Except for Fungus Monkey.
And there's a robot too. I mean, robots are never gentle people.
And Cat, who isn't here anymore, but
who is a cat actually?
Yeah, who is in fact a feline.
She's a talking feline.
I thought she was a talking box or whatever. Wasn't that what?
You don't think I'd actually let a regular woman on the show again after anything else? She's an actual cat.
No, ma'am. That's why we have our no ma'am shirts.
But you know what? Let's leave this one with the same way we always do, and let's say, long live the League!
Live it! Live it!
Love it.
Fuck it.